Hi, I'm Twinkie, the founder of Linear Minds that created books like these. And in today's video, I wanted to share with you an inspirational story of a mother who prayed. Now, Mother's Day celebration is ramping up across the board. And this story is a beautiful testimony of what happens when a mother prays. So for this, I have to take you back to 50 years ago for a person who was married quite young. And by the time she was about 22 years old, she had her first son. Now, this son was the only son she could have because she had a lot of miscarriages, stillborn, and even death of children. And in all fairness, he's the only one who thrived or who survived all of that. So she raised him up with so much love and attention that he was spoiled. Okay. Now, as he grew, when he was about 8 to 9 years old, this mother was diagnosed with a blood-related cancer. At that point in time, there was no cure or treatment that she could access for this disease. So she knew her time was ticking and her years on earth was very limited. So she ramped up her prayer, her effort to actually build enough resources for this son. She was a stay-at-home mom, but she was very wise. So she organized everything that was possible in the little time that she had to build assets like land and properties and wealth for that matter, but also invested spiritually in her son. She would drag him to every little prayer meetings, make sure prayer was not compromised at home, and did everything she could to teach him prayer principles and kingdom ways of living. Now, this was obviously against his will, being a young boy, but he cooperated and he learned the ways of his mother. Now, 9 years later, when he was about 15 years old, his mother passed away. And as you can imagine, as a young boy, being a teenager, the worldly pleasures were all available to him, yet he missed that deep sense of motherly affection in his life. Now, as he grew, he obviously lost his way because the money was loaded in his family, and he explored all the sin and all the different pleasures that the world could offer. But at one point in his time, he realized that he had to find his way and not be succumbed to the temptations of the world. So he decided to take a different path and explore the path that his mother had taught him. So by the time he was 24, 25, he made the decision to actually live the life that his mother taught him more than what the world's way would teach him. And that was definitely met with a lot of different resistance and challenges along the way. Now, fast forward, he got married, he had 3 children. He's definitely going through that phase of life where he's blessed, he's nourished, and he's definitely living a life of fulfillment. Now, the blessings are enjoyed by his family. Well, I should say his wife and 3 children, which is me and my 3 children. So yes, I'm talking about my husband who lost his mother when he was quite young. But because his mother invested in him spiritually, after years, I was able to yield the fruit of that prayer. And I am proud of my husband and the way he leads the family and the way he's a father to our 3 children, because I know that he could have chosen another pathway, but he didn't. So from beyond the grave, from a mother I have never seen, from a mother who nurtured my husband for just 15 years of his life, I recognize that the investment that she made spiritually bore fruit beyond the grave. It had an intergenerational blessing which no one can explain or no one can teach from a book, but it has to be lived. So drawing from her inspiration, I decided if she prayed for 15 years for a child, and that child is now being a blessing for many more people, as a mother, what influence do I have in my family? Wait, is it just one generation or can it actually be intergenerational? So I have decided to be inspired by her and take a commitment to pray, not just for my family, but for 7 generations, because mothers have an influence that no one can dilute and take away. We hold a position in the family that is beyond comparison and dispute. So what if we prayed more? What if we had the capacity to pray? And yes, there's so much burden and so much expectation from mothers and women in this day and age. There's so much worldly pleasures surrounding both the family unit and the individual that prayer is probably on the sidelines or neglected at the best. And that's exactly why I created tools like Ponder and Pray, because my mission is to have people pray. 5 minutes a day, that's good. 10 minutes, awesome. Can you bring in the kids and the family together for prayer? You are shaking and moving things that no one else will be able to take away. And sometimes your children might walk away from faith, but do not worry, because just like my husband, he walked away, but he came back. And that is definitely the victory story of the cross. So are you a mother? Do you know a mother who would be loving and caring, but their prayer is the biggest investment in your life? Why don't you give them a Ponder and Pray journal? Why don't you let them record their thoughts, prayers, and the words they receive from the Lord for you in a piece of paper? Because then this can be passed on as a legacy for the next generation.